Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this Sparkle of Light spiritual chat show. Tonight, you'll notice there's just myself bringing on our guest. But first of all, can we give lots of love and lots of hugs over to Alice Trevorrow, who has been unwell lately, and we can give her so much love and healing. So, Alice, please know we are all thinking of you, and we're all sending you our love and big hugs. So guys, tonight our special guest is a lovely lady all the way from Phoenix, Arizona, called Susan Grayson. Now, Susan talks about her journey. She's a spiritual advisor. She's a psychic medium. She's a Reiki master. She's certified in hypnotherapy, and I think I'm pronouncing it properly, graphologist. And she's an ordained minister as well, and an author. So she has so much to share with us tonight. So without any ado, we'll do announcements at the end, and we'll welcome our guest, Susan Grayson, on.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I feel so honored to be here. Thank you, Judith, and thank you, Alice. I feel so privileged. I appreciate it so much.
It's lovely to have you with us, Susan. I want to say before we start off, you have a beautiful energy around you, like a beautiful aura. And it's so nice to see it's just shining. So, Susan, normally it's myself and Alice, but tonight you've just got me. But I see you do quite a lot. You've done quite a lot. And I believe you've been journeying for over 40 years now. Would that be correct?
Yes, I'm one of these old souls, you know.
Yeah, you can never have too much knowledge. Sure, you can't.
Thank you. I've been around for a long time, so I've done a lot. But this is my love, and it keeps me alive.
So, when did it start for you, the spiritual side, Susan?
Okay, so let me just kind of go backwards a little bit. When I was growing up, I was brought up in an Irish Catholic Boston family. Okay. And, I always questioned everything because, we did things according to the church. We always, went to church and communion, confession, everything. And I was always questioning things. I think my mother, I drove her crazy because I was always questioning everything. Why? And a lot of stuff did not make sense to me.
Yeah.
So, I was always fascinated by this stuff. When I was 15, I had a girlfriend, and she and we took a bus and a subway into Boston, and we went to this place called Tremont Tea Room. And it's still there today. It's been there since like 1938. And for $2, this is telling you how old I am, but for $2.50, we went in there and we ordered a sandwich and a cup of tea. So we'd eat our sandwich and we drank our tea, and then someone from the back room, a lady from the back room, would come out and read our tea leaves. It was just so exciting. I thought, this is, it was always that stuff that fascinated me, the things that weren't ordinary, you know what I mean? And I just loved it. And what happened was I was always, trying to read books and stuff on this, but it was in the mid 80s or early 80s. And I had two little kids, my two little children. And what happened was I had a neighbor, and she was quite a bit older than me. And what happened is she came over one day, and I thought, oh, she's so cool. She was like in her 60s, and I was in my 20s. And she came over one day, and she brought a tarot deck. And I had never really experienced a tarot deck before, but I looked at it, and I just connected with it. And from that moment on, I couldn't get enough of that stuff. I couldn't get enough of tarot cards, anything. And then one day she came over also, and she brought a book. I forget the name of the book, but it was all about reincarnation. And as I read the book, I thought, oh my gosh, this just answers all my questions I've ever had.
Starts to fit in to make peace, yeah.
Yeah, it gave me the answers. It gave me understanding of life and everything. And from that moment on, when I started, studying the book and everything, I started having dreams. where I remembered lifetimes where one of them, I was an old minister, and this was in England, and I've never been to this place, but I could tell you exactly what it looked like. It had a church, and it was made of rock, and it was like on a little hill, and it was on a street called Gloucester. I don't know if it's still there, but it had like woods in the background. And I've dreamt of that like 3 times. And it was like a very peaceful life. And then I've had other dreams where, I was a bad guy or a good guy. And, the ship that went down 3 times in ships, fishing and everything. And then I had this one dream. This was really incredible. But I started having all these past life dreams, and they were so real. And I felt like this was really me. And this one dream I had, I was kind of a bad guy because I was hanging around with this gang,
Yeah.
like mobsters or something. And what happened was I stole a lot of money from this gang. And I remember meeting up with my sister, and this was a sister in that lifetime, and her husband, and saying, I'm not gonna be around too much longer because they're gonna murder me because I took all this money. So this was in San Francisco, and at the time I had never been to San Francisco, but I could tell you everything about the dock and everything. And what happened was the bad guys did get me. The mob got me, and they
Yeah.
got me, and they beat me up really bad, and they threw me on this boat in the harbor. So in order to escape, I had to get off the boat and fall in the water and drown. But as I was drowning, this beautiful hand, these set of hands came up. This light came through the water, and these hands held me. So it was like God, it was God, and, it
Yeah.
was beautiful. And so I really knew that there was so much more than just this lifetime.
Yeah.
There's much more of us, and
There
that
is.
we have lived many lifetimes.
There is a lot of our dreams really do connect us to different lives, parallel lives, different dimensions, and sometimes I like to journal. And when we
Yes.
journal, we don't remember everything, but it's amazing what we can receive and what we can kind of learn and go back over.
Like
So
automatic writing too. You
yeah,
just put yourself in the
yeah,
meditative state, and next thing you know, you can just write and get answers.
yeah. So was your mum very spiritual, or was she quite with the strict
They were
religion?
really they were really strong Catholics, so they didn't go for all this stuff. I remember, when I was like a teenager in high school, we had a spiritualist guy come to the house and with a group of people, and that was really cool because he talked about the people on the other side, our loved ones, the spirits,
Yeah.
and that was beautiful. But most of all, she was afraid to deviate from the Catholic Church. But
Yes.
I
And
just
back in time in the Catholic Church, and not just in the Catholic Church, but even
any yeah.
in any Christianity religion, it was frowned upon because,
Mhm.
but personally, I feel it was misunderstood.
And they couldn't control you either if you had a
Yes.
mind. I
Yes.
mean, the
Yes.
whole idea, growing up with heaven and hell and purgatory. I mean, what about all these other beautiful people, the Buddhist and the Jehovah,
Yeah.
the Jewish and everything? Don't they
Yeah.
deserve to go to heaven or two?
What took you down the road of becoming an ordained minister then? Was
Um,
it part of your faith, part of your spiritual journey? What took
I've
you?
always believed in God. I've always felt that the angels were with me. I mean, when I look at my life and when my younger years, when I was living in Boston, I'd, walk the streets and go on the subway by myself and everything. But I always knew I was protected.
Yeah.
I always felt like, and when I didn't pay attention to my intuition, boy, I paid for it.
We
But
learn the hard way, don't we?
yeah.
We can.
We have so many helpers on the other side. We have angels, we have guides, we have our loved ones, and they're with us always.
Yeah. And you talk about churches and the chapels and the Catholic and the different faiths. I was brought up through a church. My mum was, she still has, my mum was very strong faith. Um, But I remember going down to her church and we were talking about like what we're talking about now. And I can remember saying to them, nobody ever sat me down in Sunday school and said, Archangel Michael does this,
Right.
Archangel Gabriel does that, Archangel Ariel. Nobody would have sat me down and we would have learned the Bible passages and whatever. But there was always like so much more to it. I felt was always missing.
And you're right there, Judith. I mean, there is truth in every religion. There's a little bit of truth in everything. And I kind of envied my husband because he grew up in a family that said, go to all the churches.
Yeah.
Find out where you fit. Find out your truth. And so something, you may study one religion for a little while and it was good. And then you find something else appeals to you. But I did get I became an ordained minister. And when I lived in Corpus Christi, I had my husband and I were both the pastors of the church there. And it was a non-denominational church. And it was great. We had music and everything. And it was really fun. I enjoyed it. Yeah.
So did you have to study and things, Susan, to become that?
Yeah, I did study. I
So
studied.
would that have been later in life then?
Yeah,
Or would you?
it was probably later. It was this was back in like 96. So I was older and yeah. And I married people and did that kind of thing, baptisms and
Yeah,
stuff. It was just really great. But
it's
that was
lovely that you can
important.
do that.
Important, yeah. And what really got me into a lot of this stuff is when my friend introduced me to the tarot cards. I
Yes.
started practicing with everybody, first family and everything. But then I started, at the time, there was a lot of fears going on. This was in the mid 80s. And what happened is when I would do a reading for somebody, I always said like a little prayer before I started, because you cannot do this stuff without the help from the other side. I don't care,
Absolutely. Teamwork.
Exactly. And so when I would, before I say the little prayer and everything, and then all of a sudden I'd get little messages and I would pay attention. Like one of the first readings I did, I said to the person, I said, this is going to sound really silly, but I saw you on this flying trapeze. and I'm thinking, oh boy. And she's going to say, what? She said, well, I'm not surprised. She said, I lived in the circus for 3 years. So you never know what's going to, and it's a matter of whatever messages you get that you have to trust. Because the spirit, they don't waste their time with words or anything like that. You just have to pay attention, and they do try, in when you're doing mediumship or anything, they do try to give you messages and give you words and everything that you're going to relate to.
Absolutely. And you were saying when you first got your tarot cards that you just connected with them.
It was a tool.
Yes, you were just connecting with them, but that intuition was sharp. Sometimes we can get the cards and the first thing we want to do is understand the book rather than connect with
right
the intuition and the cards.
Because they're just a tool. It's what the whole thing with the metaphysical world. Like when I wrote my book, this book here, Love Your Spiritual Gifts. What I did was I tried to explain that everybody can develop these gifts. Everybody can do something with their lives that's spiritual, because we all of us have this intuition within us. We have this inner knowledge, and all you have to do is trust it. If you're walking along and all of a sudden you feel like, no, I need to go this way, even though, what am I going to go that way for? I don't go that way. Go that way. There's something you need to see or something you need to do on the way. So it's all a matter of trusting your inner guidance. And we all have this. We just don't always pay attention to it.
I totally agree, Sue. I totally agree.
How did you get into it?
I from a child, I always had that knowing, and I could see things that other people weren't seeing. And it very much scared me. But then I always was very intrigued, and I was like going with my mum. We went to church, and so as I grew up, it just got more and more, and it got stronger and stronger, and I started to understand it. And thankfully, Spirit trained me. I'm very grateful because they trained me very differently, but at the same time, it's how they wanted me to work with them. So I love the fact that you touch on we all have it, because, you know, I personally, I agree. I think the myth of you have to be chosen, I feel we're all chosen.
Yes, we are.
That's
But we
why
all have different gifts. Somebody may be really good in healing. Other people may be good in,
absolutely.
words or expressions, or maybe other people do paintings or they play music and they reach our soul in that way.
Yes, absolutely. So the Arthur Finlay, you went to Arthur Finlay.
I love it.
Did
I
you train
love
at Arthur Finlay?
Yes, I went before COVID hit. I
Yeah,
was one of
yeah, it
those lucky
changed a lot.
people. Then I tried to go after COVID, and that was kind of not the right time. But I loved it. I mean, for a whole week, you get to stay there, and you get fed, and you have housing, and you have these incredible tutors. They're just beautiful people, and I had two tutors, and one of them did the physical mediumship, which was healing and everything. And the other one did the spirit art. And that was so cool. So one of the nights, there was 200 at the time when I went. 100 of the people were from Japan, and they had an interpreter. And then the other 100 were from like all over the world. So
Yeah.
this one night we met in the little church or the sanctuary. And so we all sat in the pews and everything. And the physical medium got up and talked. And what she did was she brought in the spirit from the other side. And what happened is the artist, the spirit artist, she sat there with a big pad of paper and pencils. And she put herself in a meditative state. And as the physical medium stood at the podium and described everything, described this person, the spirit drawer, she just sat there and she just drew the picture. She drew the portrait.
Amazing.
So when it was all done, they said, okay, can somebody take this? And one of the Japanese ladies said, yes, it's my uncle. And sure enough, they held up the picture, the portrait of the uncle, and it was just incredible. She said, yes, that's him.
Spirit artists are amazing, and you can have one, as you say, they can just draw on so much detail. And other artists may be more of the energy and the auras, but I'm always in awe of spiritual artists, because that's a skill and a talent in itself.
It's amazing. It's
Yeah,
amazing. I mean, her eyes are closed and she comes up with this beautiful portrait. Of course, it's the spirits that are coming through her that are doing it all, but
yeah.
it's amazing. Yeah.
So can you share your book again, Susan? Sorry. Can you
I'm
hold
sorry.
your book up to let everybody see your
My
book?
book. Okay. This is Love Your Spiritual Gifts. And this is all how to. Okay. So what I did in the 40 years, I taught classes. I taught classes in the Trevorrow. I taught classes in mediumship. I'm still teaching classes once a month in mediumship. And this teaches you about the pendulum, and it's about all these different tools that you can, because what happens is with the tool, you develop a tool that you really like. If it's scrying in a mirror or something, you resonate to that particular tool, and that helps you develop your gifts because you love it and you excite and you trust it and you have faith that the right answers come through. But that's a book that took me 40 years to write.
I was going to say, how long did it take you to write your book?
Well, it was like an accumulation of all the years I taught these classes. Now, a couple of things I did not touch upon, like astrology. I've taken classes in astrology, and it just kind of went right over my head, Judith. I mean, I didn't get it.
It's fascinating, isn't it, though? It's fascinating,
Very
astrology.
fascinating.
Yeah.
And then I didn't talk about crystals and stones, even though I've taught classes, because you really have to have good illustrations for them to identify with the different stones. but I did talk about, all the other stuff. I talked about chakras and automatic writing and, all the things that can help you develop your gifts. You just have to find that particular tool that you resonate to, and it makes it so much easier.
Yeah, because we do kind of get drawn. I love crystals. Love my crystals.
Yeah.
If you take me to a crystal shop, I'm like a kid in a candy store. I love my crystals.
Yes.
And I do love my cards, but I'm very probably being selfish, but I keep them for me.
Because it's energy. It's energy. It's energy from the earth. And it's energy that, it just stimulates you and it heals you. You know?
Absolutely. I always say to everybody, when you get new cards, take them and put them under your pillow and talk to them. And I actually do that. My partner will say to me, what are they under your pillow for? But listen, I make them my best friends.
Did you ever hear about Edgar Cayce, the sleeping prophet?
Edward Cayce, yes.
And he was in Virginia Beach, and they built a big association for, research and everything, development. But what he did was he would take a book. He just had a hard time studying and reading and everything, and he would put it under his pillow or under the bed, and he would, in the morning, he would understand the book.
Yeah, I do that with my cards. I put them under my pillow.
Yeah, and you should, because and, people will say, "Oh, well, you should be given your first deck, or you shouldn't buy." It doesn't matter. You're gonna cleanse them, and you're gonna, do with them. They're gonna pick up your energy, like everything.
Absolutely. So I know you're a Reiki master, Susan.
Yes, also. I did. I studied Reiki, and I got my Reiki master. And I like Reiki because I believe, the symbols all have meaning and everything.
Yeah.
And then I took a class in Oneness Blessing Giver, and that's out of India.
Oh,
and that to me was even more healing. But either way, whether you're doing Reiki, whether you're doing Oneness Blessing Giver, you're bringing in the energy. It's, you are just the vehicle. You're bringing that energy down through you and out through you to that person. And so I think it's beautiful, all these healers and everything.
Yeah.
But I have a friend that just lost her husband, and they spent a lot of time and money going down to Ecuador for all this natural healing, but he ended up dying anyway. So I just believe when it's your time, it's your time, And
healing can come in many ways too, Susan.
Yeah.
Healing can come to do with the mind, the body, the spirit.
Exactly.
It's really the healing we need to receive at that time. Would you agree?
I agree. And it's all energy. You're sending that energy to that person, whether it's through prayers or, a lot of times, like, I worry about my kids, and I'll just say, okay, angels, there's a lot of things I can't control. So I say a little prayer to the angels. Please, angels, will you send some love and light to my kids and surround them with love and light and protection? And it works, because there's so much we are limited that we can do. Whereas the angels and our spirit guides and our loved ones, they can do a little more magic on that side.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And they never cease to amaze us. So they don't, in all the work that they can do and they can help us with. So I know you've written that book. Have you any plans to write another book?
I woke up this morning about 1:00. Could I go back to sleep? No. Anyway, I was thinking out, what I want to do more than anything is have people realize everything in our life, everything is all about love.
Yeah.
Loving each other, loving the planet, loving the little creatures on the planet, whether they're our pets or not. But it all comes down to love. Yeah. And love is not having fear. Saying, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to be fearful. I'm going to trust. I'm going to have faith and love the situation, because oftentimes the situation doesn't turn out the way we want. But oftentimes a few years later, we'll look back and say, that was really a blessing in disguise. Yeah. So,
I always say we get what we need, not necessarily what we want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you imagine if we got what we wanted all the time? What a world
We'd be spoiled.
Yes, we would be. We
That's
The
it.
trouble is if we got what we wanted all the time, we wouldn't want to leave here.
No,
We want
that's
to stay
very
here
true.
forever.
Yeah,
So,
very, very true.
so do you have children or anything?
Yes, I have three. I have three daughters,
Wow,
and they're all very spiritual. So they are. Um,
beautiful.
I was like yourself because as a child, I didn't understand it, and as a child, I found it quite scary and confusing at times because there was nobody to try and explain things, and so when I
Especially,
could.
it sounds like you saw a lot of spirits when you were a
Yes,
child.
I did. Yes, yeah. But I could see the signs with our daughters, so I was always very open with them, and I laugh because our eldest daughter's really strong intuition, and she's tapping into it more. Our middle daughter, she can but won't. It scares her, but she can connect with her friends and her grandparents. And our youngest daughter, she just calls it the Molly Campbell effect. It's like gold dust to her. She just clicks her fingers and all these things. She's the best manifester I've ever seen. And
Oh, neat.
do you know why? She doesn't picture ahead. She just lives in the present day. And
That is the way you live
yeah,
in the present because you don't know what the future is going to bring. And,
that's
you
true.
can't change the past, but there's a reason. I don't think anything happens to us by accident. Nothing happens by
Agree.
coincidence. It happens because it's supposed to. And oftentimes it's part of our growing and learning to help us on our spiritual path. But yeah,
Mm.
nothing, it's
It
not
is.
an easy life, is it?
It's not, and we're all, as you say, we're always learning. And I always say the person who thinks they know everything knows nothing because we're always learning. And a lot of it has to be, as you say, from experience, and it's true what you say. I was actually just having that conversation the other day, and we're always so focused on what we have to do the next day, where we have to go, what we have to do, that we're giving so much of that attention away. We're just constantly planning rather than allowing and just experiencing each day. We're always planning ahead, and before you know it, you're not really getting to experience any life properly.
Yeah.
The joys, the sorrows, all of it. All of it.
And don't you find that is why meditation is so important?
I
Because
love
I am
meditation.
not, Judith, I'm not the type of person that could sit still for 10 minutes, or 20 minutes, it's just really hard for me. But I tell my students, I said, just spend 10 minutes a day, close your eyes, focus on your breathing, and just be open
Yeah.
to what's going on the other side. Whatever messages they want to bring to you, whatever. And we don't live in a cave. We're not in Tibet. We can't sit for 8 hours. But if you could just spend 10 minutes a day, and that makes all
Absolutely.
the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes we can, all too often we can say we're too busy or we don't have time for that. But really, if we allow ourselves those 5 minutes when we're having our coffee in the morning or our tea, just to sit and focus on our breath.
Instead of thinking about what do I got to do, what do I have to do today, or just going for a walk in the woods, or just sitting outside if you have a courtyard and looking at the birds and the nature, or putting your feet on the grass. Right now it's still pretty hot here, but we're going.
We never got a summer, Susan. We're still waiting for the summer to come here in Ireland.
Pass you right by.
Yeah, it's missed us this year, so it has. But one of the things I'm really itching to chat about, Susan, is the graphologist.
Okay, yeah, I'm a certified graphoanalyst. And what I did when I got out of high school, I took a class through Chicago. And basically what it was is you study the formation of letters. Everybody has a certain way they cross the T or close the O or whatever, or how they slant the words. And that all means something. And basically, as a graphoanalyst, you can go to a court and say, yes, this is a genuine document of that person's writing because of the way you've studied it. So basically, what happens is the way we form our letters, the way we form our words, shows a different personality.
Yes.
It all has meaning. Like you cross your T's like this, or you don't cross them all the way through, then, well, you procrastinate, different things like that. Yeah, it's fun and there's a lot to it. Yeah.
So then, Susan, okay, so let me test you. Let me test you. So I always say to everyone, when you're journaling or when you're writing, pay attention to the patterns of your writing, because I notice it in mine. And when I write it's 17. It's always 17. So what does that tell you, Susan?
So you do like this, but you do like that.
Yeah, I do like
7.
The I, and then the T is like a 7.
Wow.
With like
the
line through it. So yeah, it's
probably have to see it in its context. Yeah. But it's definitely crossed though, right?
Yeah. So you've got the
straight line. Mm-hmm.
With the line, and then you've got basically it's not a T, it's a 7 with the line.
Okay.
But I always do that.
The 7 kind of has a hook to it. So if you have the straight line and then the 7 has a little hook, because normally you don't have that little line to make like you make a 7.
Yes.
So when you have a hook like that, usually that indicates tenacity, or you're holding on to something. And depending on where it is on the paper, it could be like holding on to the past, or
everywhere,
or getting something and can't let it go.
So you could very well be right. You could be spot on, but every time I write the word it's always the same. It's 17.
So that's saying that you are your own individual, Judith. You are your own person. You have your own way to design that X. Yeah.
Oh, Marcus is saying to me to write it on paper. Let me see. Oh, okay. So this is how I write it. It's always 17.
Yeah, right. That's very unusual. I don't know anybody that does that. So that shows you are unusual. You're a very interesting person. So you have to send me like a paragraph of your writing.
I will. Marcus says that's Jude. Marcus, Society of Psychological Studies. He knows me too well.
Somebody else does it. Wow.
So what else can you tell from handwriting? Linda says we're one of a kind.
Basically, you can tell by how, like, even just the slant. If somebody slants when they write, they slant way over to the right. That shows a very emotional person. And if somebody kind of writes straight up and down, straight.
Yeah.
That's usually somebody that is not emotional, that really thinks before they do anything. And then if you have somebody that writes sort of backwards, like they write, usually that is a person that's really obsessed with themselves. You know what I mean? They think of themselves first before anything else. Okay. But you really have to kind of take the whole thing. Yeah. Say you have somebody that dots their I with a big circle.
Okay. Yes.
That's a very, very different type of individual. They want to stand out. They want to look different. They want to stand out in the crowd. They don't want to be like everybody else.
So Alice is saying, Alice, I see you've put up, I write it like that. What do you write, Alice? What is it you write like that? While I'm waiting for Alice. So this is how I do my J's.
Sure.
Judith's off from on that.
This is fun.
So that's how I do my J.
Okay, J. Wow. You do it very opposite. Yeah. But see, you have a hook on the bottom, and there's that tenacity again.
Oh, Alice writes it's same as 17. Oh, that's really with the line.
I've never seen anybody write like a 17.
Twinsies, Alice. Twinsies.
That is so funny.
That's really interesting.
There's a lot to it. I don't even know if the school is still in existence, but it was in Chicago, Illinois. And I took it for a few years, but it was fascinating. I think people are just fascinating. Whatever helps you connect to people, whether it's through their writing but everything is energy too, because even when you're writing, you're expressing energy. So that you're going to have to send me a paragraph.
You have
sign your name.
You have hooked me. I'm definitely going to send you a paragraph.
And then like if you write words, and it depends on how they're formed too. If they have a lot, like say you're writing an M, and your M is very pointed on top instead of rounded, because that all means something too. The more pointed it is, the more intellectual you probably are. Yeah. So
I don't know if I'm as intellectual.
Well, send me a paragraph and we'll figure it out.
Absolutely. I'm so intrigued. What was the one for procrastination?
Say you're writing a T and you're only crossing it halfway. You're not bringing it all the way across. That's one sign of procrastination. Yeah.
So how me and Alice write the T is we're partly procrastinating.
So no, but that is now that a T. Which one's a T? That little tiny one?
This is the T.
That's a T. No, but you get the line going across, so that's not really showing procrastination. But if you have the hook on the top, and that's kind of indicating a lot of the past that you've kind of maybe held on to a little bit. I would have to see the whole. You have to kind of look at the whole picture.
Listen, Susan, you've got me. I'm Marcus in the Society of Parapsychological Studies. He says there is a writing as an exam. Marcus, are you asking? Did Susan sit an exam? Exam she has. You're certified, aren't you, Susan? Yeah.
So
sorry.
So are you asking about the writing?
Marcus has asked he said there is
writing.
No, in my mess. Okay, Marcus, I'm getting lost. Okay, I get that. So Angie. Okay, so Angie was wondering if I could get an insight. No, that's not what we're really talking about at the moment, Angie.
we're kind of all over the place, Judith.
Yeah, sorry. We're really talking about the Graphoanalyst.
Graphoanalyst. Graphoanalyst. Yeah.
Spit it out, Judith. Spit it out. Marcus, I don't know what you were asking me.
You're doing great, Judith. You're doing great. It's a very unusual word. You don't see it every day.
Yeah. Marcus, I'll get to your message after. I just don't know what you're asking me right now. So
I think it is important. Like, I mean, if I had a company and I was going to interview people, it would be good to check out their writing, because you could tell the kind of person they are. Are they going to steal you blind, or because you can tell that stuff too.
So I know somebody that does their capital and then it's like that, and it's just lines. It's unrecognizable.
Like a doctor's prescription, right?
Yes, it's completely unrecognizable. So what's that say when somebody does just a squiggly line?
Well, it doesn't. It shows that they're not really. Maybe they have trouble staying on task, or being very conscientious. Okay. That could be it too. Or they just don't want you to know who they are.
That sounds more like it now, Susan. That's so I don't know if you can see this, but we've got an example here. And
Okay. Very showy. They like a lot of attention. Yeah. Um, they've got a nice slant to it. So they are somewhat, the person on the top is more emotional than the one on the bottom. And also where, like if you do a capital, if you do a word, okay, and you have a lot more of the word is up top than on the bottom. See, if somebody does a Y and it's really long on the bottom, or it's really a wide loop or really exaggerated, then they tend to be a little more materialistic than the person that has all the letters that are really blown up top of them, on the top part of it.
This is the same person's handwriting. This is the same person writing all of it.
But see, there's still, like, the Y is still closed the same way on both places on that second word.
So does our mood affect how we write?
And their P's are very large loop up top. And they're not overly emotional, but it looks like, I like the way they write. And because so say like they have an S, okay, they're writing a capital S, and they're kind of dragging the pen up there, and then they make the S. So they're pulling from they're starting the S off very, very long, instead of just, the S. Like she has, like, I think, she has the P, like the P.
Market pants there.
See, like her P's are very, they're just P's. She doesn't have these long loops coming up and bringing them around and everything. So this person is a very direct person.
Do you hear that, Marcus? He's on the feed.
They're very direct, and they want you to be upfront with them. They don't want all this, all this talking in circles before they get to the point. They want you to come right to the point when you talk to them.
Yeah, he's saying yes.
Direct, very direct. And he is careful with his money. He's careful with his money, but he's got a nice balance between the upper letters and the lower letters. So that tells me he's very balanced. He's not overly materialistic, which would be the bottom letters and the bottom loops and everything. And doesn't have his face up in the clouds on the top.
Marcus. I'm just laughing at the comments, because this is Marcus who's commenting on the Society of Parapsychological Studies, and he's commenting, he's saying cool, he's saying yes, this is his handwriting, and he's saying stingy.
Yeah, he's very careful with his money. He doesn't just blow it carelessly.
So Susan, would he squeak when he walks?
Yes. We're teasing you, Marcus.
There you go, Marcus.
Let's not say he's stingy, because he may be generous in some areas, but he's careful. He's careful with his money.
I'm sorry, I just couldn't resist that. He's on the other side. He can't do anything to me at the moment.
That's so funny. Yeah,
that is so interesting, because.
But he I love his writing. It's really cool, though. He's very direct. This is me. This is it, without all the frills. No frills intended.
He's agreeing. He is agreeing with you. So he is actually a nice writer, to be fair.
Yeah.
I'm a very messy writer.
He's very clear about things. He's very clear.
Do you hear that, Marcus? You're really good with your writing. Oh, that's just, I had to say the Irish in me. I couldn't resist it. So it is it's a fascinating subject. It really is. But you're also a hypnotherapist, aren't you?
I am a hypnotherapist, yeah. And in my book, I have a whole section of past life regression, because that's something that anybody, if they want, say if you're having a problem, say if for some reason you're afraid of heights, and you say, I don't know why I'm afraid of heights. There's nothing in this lifetime that would indicate that I should be afraid of heights. But when you do the past life regression, I have it all written out, the whole script. All you have to do is read it like into a tape recorder or your phone, and sit and think about what it is you want to figure out. Why am I afraid of heights? So maybe in that past life regression, you'll find that maybe you fell off a Ferris wheel or something,
I'm scared of water. So something in my past life.
Probably more than likely it was something
I,
in your past life where you drowned.
Yeah, can I rephrase that just in case Marcus tries to get me back? I'm not scared of water. I'm scared of the sea. I can go out so far and then I'll run back.
Well, see, even though I know I died 3 lifetimes going as a fisherman, going down with the boat. But I love the ocean. Probably because that time when I was held so beautifully with those hands, it was just beautiful. The light coming through the water and everything. It was a beautiful situation. But what's interesting, Judith? Do you have any birthmarks? We're not going to tell.
I'm trying to think.
Maybe you have a birthmark, maybe on your back.
Oh, I do. Okay, so I have 2. So I have one on my back at my shoulder blades, and when I'm away, I'm gonna go, if I get tan or get a color, that little patch doesn't color. And I also have one on my hair.
Okay, so oftentimes you may have a birthmark and you think, well, why do I have this birthmark? It's weird. And then you go through a past life regression and you discover in one lifetime you were shot in an arrow or shot with a gun or something in that particular spot. And usually what happens, you carry that birthmark in with you the next lifetime.
Oh.
So it's a way that you might have been stabbed there. Or maybe you were stabbed in that particular area in that lifetime. But usually that's what happens. You have that birthmark. But a lot of times if you have fears and you go through a past life regression, you find out why, it'll go away. You never have that fear again.
I did a past life regression in class with students I help, and I didn't tell them we were going to do it. We just did it, and when they come back out of it, they went on that journey. They went through the whole scenario where this took them, where the fear was created, and when they came back, they all just looked at each other and went, I understand, that's why I'm like this now. And you can really heal. You can heal with a lot, can't you, Susan?
You can do a lot of healing that way, yes. Because once you understand why it happened, you don't have to fear it again because it's already happened. It happened before. You don't have to relive it.
Yeah.
It's gone.
It's interesting, isn't it? It's interesting. Linda's saying that she would love to get your book. Can you tell
Amazon? Do you get Amazon out there?
Yes,
Amazon has everything.
Absolutely.
But it's on Amazon, and it has everything in it. Like you can do as many lifetimes as you want. Whatever questions you have, just kind of think about it first and then play your tape, because you've already recorded the script. And it's so neat. I mean, isn't life fascinating? I mean, you have people that say, oh, I can do your healings. I can give you Akashic records and everything. But you know what? Judith, we've lived so many lifetimes. We've been so many people. We've been the good and the bad and the rich and the poor. I mean, we've been everything.
I've had past life. I know quite a few of mine, and I've had a past life where I'm really poor and I'm in one room, and it's just like an really old stone building. But I'm probably what you call a white witch, and I used to make potions and medicines for the poor, and I had one child, and it was just the table, but the bed was in the same room. And then I've had other lives where I'm the complete opposite, and I'm living in like in a palace places, and I'm going to have words with Marcus, because I did have a past life with Marcus, so maybe and it was to do with war, so maybe he shot me in the back. Marcus.
In this lifetime, you better be making it up to you, right?
Yeah, I'll have to. Do you know what, Susan? I'll have to have words with him. So well, but it is amazing. Your journey is truly amazing.
It's just like certain countries you may resonate to, and other countries you think, I never want to go there, never want to go there. Or certain people. Do you ever meet somebody for the first time and you get this feeling like, oh my gosh, get that person away from me. Let me run as far away as I possibly can.
Yeah.
Or you see somebody and you just like them and you really resonate to them and you love them, and you don't even know them. And then other people, you go to the cashier every day and, you buy your food and everything, and they don't affect you one way or the other. But the ones that give you such a strong feeling good or such a strong feeling bad, you have known them before. Your soul recognizes their soul, good or bad.
Absolutely. And I say that all the time. Everybody we cross paths with, we cross paths for a reason, and we've already crossed paths before. Marcus says he hates guns. He was Jack somebody. I don't know who the other. I don't know what the rest of that says. It just says Jack. But it is what we fear in this life. Maybe there's a reason, and it's linked to our other lives.
But don't you think, though, too, that everybody comes into your life for a reason? And maybe, there's some people that come into your life very briefly, and some people stay in your life a long time. But they're teaching you something, and they're not really teaching you about them. They're teaching you about you, because what you see in them, you identify in yourself either as good or bad, or, what am I learning from this person? It's not really, what you're teaching them or even though you are teaching them something too.
Yeah, absolutely.
But there's no coincidences again. You're learning from each person or each situation you go through.
I completely agree with you, Susan, on that. I believe that there is no such thing as coincidence.
Right.
That everyone we meet and everything that happens, it does happen for a reason. Yes, we can help.
Even if you say, why do I have to go through this?
Well, you know what? I have been through situations where I have probably in the past thought, what have I done? So it's so bad.
What did you do to deserve this, right?
That's it. But it's lessons we have to learn from.
Yeah.
Because
what did you learn from it? What did it teach you?
Yes, absolutely.
And if you don't do it, you don't have to worry about doing it again.
Well, I hope I don't have to learn them lessons again.
Don't you think that when we fear something, we're attracting it to us? It's just energy.
Yes.
If you love something so much, you will bring that into your life. Or if you dislike something so much, you're going to bring that into your life too.
So true.
Where your energy is going.
Yeah, and our shadow work and shadow is energy. It's our fears, and it's very much like that. Do you not agree?
So let me ask you this, Judith. Do you have a lot of experience now with ghosts or spirits around you, or do you still see them?
Not as intense as what it was. I still see them, and they like to leave me wee presents. They look at my kitchen cupboard doors, and they'll leave they've left rings, they leave feathers, and for instance, this morning come down the stairs, and my lamp in my dining room was on, but it wasn't on when I went to bed. It wasn't on, and something else was on. So it was really, today has been very strange, because there's been lots of little signs, as in ding ding, I'm here, pay attention. But I do see quite a bit, and it doesn't scare me now, but it doesn't have that same effect because I understand it a lot more now.
But it doesn't scare you because you are the
Yeah.
light. You're a light worker.
Yes.
The light is always much more powerful than the dark
Yeah.
or the
And
black.
funny, I had this conversation with, I'm not sure who I had it with, but I know we were talking about this recently, and I can remember saying, I've never been scared of negative spirits or negative. I've never been afraid for that because I know I'm always protected. And like you said, I believe I'm always in the light.
Angels and everything, yeah.
Absolutely. I love my angels, and I'm really, really into my angels. But I've never had that fear. Not as an adult now. I've never had that fear.
Do you have a grandmother on your mother's side that's around you a lot from the other
Yeah.
side? Because I see her. Yeah, she's very
Yeah.
strong around you. She's one of your protectors.
I know, and we get on so well now, but we didn't. We didn't on the earthly plane. Yeah, no, we didn't on the earthly plane now, to be quite honest. And she knows I'll always be honest. And I can hear her laughing as I say that. But
But see, she had to grow up on the other side too and look at things differently.
Yes.
Because, when you're on the other side, you don't have the physical illnesses and the problems and the stress. You can see things a lot clearer.
You
And
can,
see
yes.
there's so much love around.
Yeah.
And you want the best for those people. I mean, I feel like she tries to help you.
She does. She does, honest, and she does. I also have there's another two ladies that come and they'll visit, and one of them was my mum's nanny. And whenever she comes with this big bag. It's like a Mary Poppins bag. And all this stuff she's just lifting out of this bag to show me. And when I say to my mum, she'll go, that was my nanny. And I find things out on my journey that I didn't know, because I remember saying to her, you had a nanny? Were you rich? You had a nanny?
So it's like, how many things can you fit in that bag, right?
Absolutely. I was just waiting for the light and the light, the stand and everything to come out of it. But spirit, I have an amazing, and I'm not saying anybody else doesn't, because I know we all do in our own way, but I have just such an amazing relationship with my spirit team. I absolutely love them, and it sometimes gets me into trouble because I'll always trust spirit over everything.
You should.
I do. I really do, and I'm really, really grateful. And like, if ever they're going to teach me something, it's always on the spot. It's either on a live or in a reading. It's always.
But then sometimes they may think that there's something you're not ready for, so you don't get that lesson. But most everything you do. Yeah.
I always say to everybody, following your journey and working with spirit and working as a light worker, we can do so much to help many people. It always begins with ourselves, with that healing and that love, and for what we need to heal and that inner peace that we need to heal. But as we journey, we were never meant to keep it for ourselves.
Right.
We should always share that to others.
Don't you see, Judith, too, that we're going through so many changes right now? I mean, when I was growing up, I never heard about human trafficking or anything like that. And we didn't, we loved animals, but we never got involved. And all of a sudden, everything is thrown crazy. Everything is being resurfaced. All these things that we've kept stuck and suppressed for 50 or 60 years or even longer. And all of a sudden, everything is coming to the surface, and we're having to recognize all these changes that are going on. And I feel like it's going to be a mess for a while, but they're coming up because we have to fix them. We have to care more about the planet. We have to care more about the animals, about the people in it, you know.
But do you not think, too, Susan, and actually I was having this conversation the other day too, a lot of the time we weren't ready to hear.
No.
You know, a lot of the time, if spirit had come forward, or we had been made aware that this was really happening in this way, or that I don't think that spirituality's come a long way, but we're still like, we can still have a lot of people go, I'm not sure, that's a wee bit out there. But I've learned that if spirits share something, it's truth. They're sharing it for a reason. But I think now they thought, okay, guys, you have had all these centuries to get your act together.
But just think too, Judith, when we were growing up, we didn't have social media. We didn't know. What did we have on TV? Maybe 3 stations that worked. Yes. 3 TV stations. Now everything is out there. I mean, you cannot hide anything. And that's a good thing, because people are having to learn to open their minds up, you know, to new ideas, new perspective of stuff, you know.
Absolutely. Alice is agreeing. I know Alice is in the background there and she's agreeing. But I think we've been evolving, and spirit has been evolving the same as we're evolving, and now we're ready to take on, okay, there's more to this. Let us show you, let us guide you. It's time to see truths for what it is. So Margaret's saying, Susan, can I please ask, with all your gifts, do you read animals?
Do I read animals as far as maybe trying to diagnose an illness or something? Probably not. But, you know, all animals, they just want love.
Yeah.
You know, one thing about animals, they give us unconditional love. You know, we can come home, we can be in a grouchy mood and be mean and want to wring somebody's neck. And then we come through the door and here's this little dog wagging the tail, or the cat meowing. You know, they have so much love to give, and we can learn so much from them. You know, you can sense if there's something wrong with an animal, if they're hurting or something. You know, that doesn't take Albert Einstein to figure that one out. But, you know, if you just kind of pay attention to what's going on with them, that's important.
I know Alice is a big dog lover, the same as myself. We have a fur baby. And I know Alice recently lost one of her fur babies, and it was very hard for her, because they are our family. They're always our family. And I know Margaret she's a big animal lover too, with dogs. And as like you said, when we pass, our dogs are our spirit.
They're the first ones to greet us.
Absolutely. But they have so much to teach us here.
Yeah.
Haven't they? Yeah,
they do. And they all have souls. I don't know about the cockroaches. I don't know about that stuff. But the animals have souls. You know I had a lovebird, and I had it for about maybe about 15 years or something. And when it died on my chest. It took its last breath. I mean, you just get so you love these animals. They're beautiful, and they're so pure. And you know, you can give an animal a lot of love and turn their life around. You can.
Absolutely. And like they can to us.
Yeah.
Susan, do you know, it's been an amazing time. I've had a great chat. I'm definitely messaging you with a picture of my handwriting. Definitely going to let you see it.
Thank you.
But you know, I could chat all night with you. We'll definitely have to get you back when Alice is back on her feet and recovered. It's been a lovely evening.
I thank you so much. I appreciate it, and you've made my life better.
Oh no, it's been a pleasure to chat to you. But have you anything coming up, Susan, that you'd like to share?
No, I just do these little reels all the time. You know, like on TikTok or Instagram.
Are you on TikTok? What's your TikTok?
TikTok is it's another. It's another little the thing like Facebook, TikTok,
Yeah.
Instagram.
I'm medium 1111 on TikTok.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
So I
mine's
am.
just Susan Grayson, psychic medium, just.
I must look you up on TikTok.
Oh, thank
So
you. Well,
yeah.
I do hope people buy my book because I put a lot of love into it. And
Can you show it again to everybody so that they can see? Just be sure.
with this book, this will help make your life a little better because it will remind you of things to do and things that raise our energy up and things that deplete it. And, just that we're all here to help each other. This is the
Love
whole
your
reason we're
spiritual.
here, to love and make this a better world. And we're all responsible. Yeah.
We are, and I love your cover, the cosmos.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. We can all make a difference. We can all make a difference. Just believe in yourself, love yourself, and please always choose love instead of fear.
Yes.
And trust the other side. They are there to help you at all times. All you got to do is ask, but people don't ask. They just take it for granted, oh, this is going to work or this isn't going to work. And all you got to do is ask, and they'll do the best they can.
Well, now Linda's asking, Linda, the name of Susan's book is Love Your Spiritual Gifts. We'll put that into the comments for you. And
this is for you guys. This is for you. It's not for me. It's what I've done is tried to help everybody.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's what we're here for.
It was, Susan, it was such a pleasure to have you. It really was.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Honestly, we'll have to have you back. It's just been the energy of us. I know Alice will just love to get joined in properly when she's on her.
And tell Alice I'm going to send as much healing as I can to her. She's got to get better because she's such an incredible person. I love her. And I love you too, Judith.
Thank you. I love you too.
Thank you so much.
Can I just say before we finish, guys, again, I know I said at the beginning, but can we all give Alice a hug, a big virtual hug, and lots of love and healing, and wish her well. And you'll be hearing back with us again, Alice, in no time, enjoying the chat as always. And
Alice, we need you. We need you. The world needs you.
We do. We do. So I've got a couple of announcements. On Wednesday, the 25th of September, at the Arden Cable, that's me and my pronunciations again, at the Arden Cable Hotel, the Sparkle of Light Events presents psychic medium Angela Strang Campbell. So the doors open at 7 p.m. The event starts at 7:30 p.m. and tickets can be booked in advance through Alice Trevorrow here on Facebook or her website, or through Eventbrite. Okay, so guys, Alice would be very grateful for your support for the event. And please check it out. It's on Wednesday, the 25th of September. So I just want to finish off with prophetic news. Brought episode 11 out last week. If you haven't watched episode 11, guys, you need to check out episode 11. Spirit have touched on Atlantis. They have touched on
Lemuria.
No, they have touched on the red. They talk about the Red Sea. They talk about my fur baby's coming in now. They talk about Atlantis. I know. And they have gave so much. If Marcus was still on, he'd be able to say. But so prophetic news in the Judith Millar YouTube channel. Check it out. Episode 11. It's like mind blowing what they have gave, and I'm really kind of in awe as always, because it's not my messages, it's Spirit's messages, and that's their message for the collective. So please check out episode 11 of Prophetic News. So guys, that brings us to the end. My fur baby's trying to get in on the action now. That brings us to the end, and it just leaves us with thanking Susan. Thank you for being an amazing guest. It's been such a pleasure chatting to you. And no doubt we will have you back again.
Thank you.
Alice, get well soon. Sending you all our love, and hope you're feeling on your feet and feeling better soon. And for everybody who joined us and took part, thank you. I hope you enjoyed it. And until next week, take care and God bless, and we'll see you soon.